Today I wanted to talk to you about how much it's going to cost to really buy your laundromat. So let's say you've decided that you can afford $200,000 for a laundromat. You look for one in that price range and you find someone willing to sell it to you for that amount, $200,000. It's actually going to cost you more than that. I don't think everybody has always thought about that. It's one of the things that I write in my book, the Laundromat Bible. But I wanted to make a quick video about it, and there's a bunch of things, so I wrote them down just so I wouldn't forget for you. So the first thing that you're going to need is you're going to have a lawyer. You'd be foolish to buy any business without a lawyer. Now, I'm not crazy about lawyers either, and we can make plenty of lawyer jokes, but they're going to save you from making a really terrible mistake. And I would also have a lawyer that is also familiar with leases. If they know a lot about laundromats, that's fantastic, but I'd like them to know about commercial leases, because there's a lot of things in those 30, 40 pages of legalese that you personally would probably miss, I'd probably miss, but the lawyer shouldn't miss. So definitely be using a lawyer. So let's just say on the low side, to keep it easy, the lawyer is going to cost you $2,000. They're going to want to get paid on closing day. Another expense that you're going to need is, obviously, with a laundromat, you're going to need gas, electric, and water. Being utility companies, they're going to ask for a deposit. So even though your laundromat might have been there for 10 years and paid their bills every single month on time, you're considered a new owner. So you'd be a new account for them. So they're going to want a security deposit. So just to give you an idea, I think I spent roughly about $3,000 on security deposits for gas, electric, and water. And don't forget, they're going to want that day one also before they turn on the services. And then what you're also going to need is your security deposit for your rent. Now, if you own the building, well, that's great for you. And one of the things that I do recommend is that if you can buy the building and the laundromat together, that's fantastic. But quite often, that is not an option. So you're going to be writing a check to a landlord every month. They're going to probably ask, I know mine did, for a month and a half security deposit. It could be more, could be less, but my security deposit, just to keep the numbers easy, was $7,000. You're also going to need that at the closing, or the landlord is not going to let you in the building. You're going to need business insurance. And I highly recommend, and I can recommend somebody for you, that you work with somebody who does insurance specifically for laundromats. Yes, you can get business insurance through Geico. You can find it through a lot of different places. But I would feel more comfortable if you got laundromat insurance through somebody who specializes in that. Again, if you don't have the insurance, the landlord is not going to sign the lease, and they're not going to give you the keys because they don't want to be on the hook for anything. Now, let's just say that's going to cost you about $250. You could pay for a year up front, but a lot of places will let you pay monthly. So we'll just say $250 to make it easy. You're also going to need money for day-to-day operations. So even if you have an unattended laundromat, those quarters are going to have to come from somewhere. So I started with about $2,000 worth of quarters for my laundromat. And what I did was I basically just gave the owners cash for the quarters that they had in the building. But again, you're going to have to fund that on your opening day. Now, if you have pickup and delivery and wash and fold, then you're also going to have customers coming in and you're going to need a cash register. So you're also going to have a couple of $100s to fund the cash register every day. And one of the big things that I think any business, any small businesses, they usually miss, but obviously applies to laundromats also, is they don't have cash on hand for emergencies. So they said, okay, I can afford $200,000, but sometimes that $200,000 maxes them out. Okay, so if they have any hiccup along the way, they can't afford it. I've talked about it. I might have mentioned it in the video. I definitely mention it in my book. But about 2-3 months into owning my laundromat, I needed a new hot water heater, and I needed it bad. Okay, I didn't do the greatest job during due diligence. I talk about that in the book. I missed some things, and one of the things, and the previous owner wasn't hiding it. I even had somebody that I hired to walk it with me. But in the back of the hot water heater, there was a huge gouge. At some point, that thing would have just burst, right? None of us saw it because it was in that part that you couldn't really see facing the back corner of the wall. But regardless, I needed a new hot water heater, and it wasn't an option. And it cost about 10 grand to put that in. So you have to have money set aside for rainy day, for emergencies, the hot water heater. Your machines go down for some particular reason. You have to call a repair person. Maybe sales in the very beginning when you take over aren't quite as good as what you thought they were going to be. Maybe as a new owner, you want to do some advertising, some marketing. Okay, this is all going to take money beyond just the money it took to buy the business. So in my little example, that $200,000 business is really going to cost you $214,000 on the day of the closing. Okay, and that's not including, I recommend at least having $10,000 minimum in the bank or accessible for emergencies. Now, obviously, if you buy a bigger laundromat, the security deposits are going to be more expensive and you might need a little more money, but I think that you get the idea. Okay, so that $200,000 laundromat is going to be a little more expensive. Now, the good thing is that a lot of this money you're going to get back. The security deposits, I'll get back from the water, gas, and electric after 2 years of paying it on time. And when I eventually sell the business, I will get my rent security deposit back. But nonetheless, it's still money that I have to put out on day one. So I just want you to realize that, because that's a failure, I think. And that's why a lot of small businesses fail. It's because they're undercapitalized. They stretch to get into the business. Okay, now they have it, but they don't have any extra money for anything else. And I don't want that to be your case. I hope you liked this video, you got something out of it. Please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and if you want to see any more laundromat videos or entrepreneur videos, leave me a note in the comments what you would like to see. Thank you.